Yes, Ndere troop there all the way from Uganda. You can continue enjoying that on this show, Power Breakfast, this morning. But now, for now, we continue with our news review. And incidentally, you saw Chef Ali is in today. We hope Willis Raburu can ask him to do what he did last week. And
fresh in
Mudomi Njuki can also get to enjoy some of the delicacies from Chef Ali.
Yesterday, that day when I moved out, you know the way Matangi had held the cooked spoon, the cooking spoon, and somebody was asking whether Matangi what was he cooking in the morning, because
it was mokimo. We made a beautiful tasty omelette, and only the bullfighter refused to taste because he thought he would be converted to Jubilee.
No. Are these people who are cooking, are they married? Somebody tell me, do you have wives?
My friend.
Oh, okay.
My brother.
Okay.
And unless you are the generation that found wives brought to your homes by your father. I mean, in bachelorhood, that is where we started.
Some of them
did you ever get to live in a small cube?
They entice their wives by the way they cook. Okay, gentlemen, let's go back to our news review, and we'll be discussing matters food a bit later. And the national government has stopped with immediate effect a school examination in Siaya County that features the image of Governor Konu Rasanga on the paper. Education CS Fred Matiang'i also interdicted 7 county education officers for approving the Class 8 mock examinations that cost the county government 1.7 million shillings. This report by Samogina.
A pin drop silence in one of the Class 8s within Siaya County, save for the shuffling of papers and scribbling of pens. A mock exam is underway across Siaya County to prepare Class 8 pupils for the next month's KCP examination. But a closer scrutiny of the mock papers reveals a mockery of the intention. The portrait of Governor Colonel Rasanga smiles from the top 100 corner of every exam paper. Rasanga reportedly splashing 1.7 million shillings of county money to fund what appears to be a poorly disguised effort to popularize himself by using the exams as his sponsor board.
Having his portrait on the papers is in order so that the children can also get to know who their governor is.
Once they see the paper and they see the photo of or the portrait of the governor, definitely they'll be wondering, who is this person and why is this photo put on the paper?
The move sparking varied reactions from parents and stakeholders within Siaya County.
The picture only will make the kid do the exams well, because at least he's seeing his or her governor on the paper.
Hatupeleki siasa kwa shule. Na watoto bado hawajafika kiwango ya kupiga siasa. Sasa kama ni kupiga siasa, tuache kuextend mpaka kwa shule.
And if at all it was the county coffers, then it is not quite in order to use his image.
Education Cabinet Secretary moved swiftly to cancel the exams and interdict the county education director and 6 sub-county education directors for permitting the mock exams to go on, contrary to a 2005 nationwide ban. The CS also dissolved the Siaya County Board and ordered for its immediate reconstitution. Matiang'i warning that education was not a devolved function for counties to undertake, and thereby the schools advised to prepare internally for the national exams. Governors in several counties have attracted controversy for using county resources to promote themselves through projects that bear their images and names. Samogina for Power Breakfast News.
Yes, now, incidentally, all my panelists have ambitions to be governors. Mudomi Njuki wants to be governor for Tharaka-Nithi County. Hassan Omar wants to replace Hassan Joho in Mombasa. Bwana Boni Halwale wants to be governor of Kakamega County. And I'm not sure, Bwana Kimano Matangi, do you want to replace Bwana Kabogo in Kiambu?
Ask me that question in December.
Yes, a very telling answer. It means yes, there's a possibility he might want to consult him. He's consulting the constitution.
But people are putting pressure
now, I see governors getting very creative as we move on to the election period, and this is one of them. Of course, they've been using billboards. Now we're seeing examination papers. Before we even come to the senators, Bwana Mudomi Njuki.
Yeah, this is something that has been ongoing with the governors. I would call it the big man syndrome, where everything by the big man of the county is geared towards his re-election from day one. Anything they do, it doesn't matter whether there's a project in the constituency or in the county. they would rather do it on the roadside where people can see it. They would rather do a market center which does not have any ambience for people who want to sell their ware, depending on the tradition, rather than do a water project in the deep villages, which is not visible. And look at the way they do the billboards. When even they are doing waiver for rates, what does do waivers for the rates have to do with the image of the governor on TV? Because they do that all the time. I have seen, of course, billboards on the road. When you do a small road somewhere in the village, instead of having the board that shows who is the contractor and how much has been, who is the consultant, instead the most visible thing is the portrait of the governor. Surely there must be a better way we can do that. In this particular case, this is an abuse office, because definitely when the exam, which of course is illegal because you're not supposed to have any mocks in that term, when they use taxpayers' money, the county money, and then he put his own image and he did not use his own money, that in itself is what made Ota last time be petitioned, and actually he was almost thrown out of elections because you're using taxpayers' money to campaign. This is very wrong. And even on the part of the pupils and the students, it's a disruption, because when I have my normal examination paper, I'm used to here, when instead of reading my instructions, this photo I have to scrutinize and start wondering who is this, then analyze the beard, analyze the face, then I'm wondering whether it's a new model, probably maybe in wrestling or whatever the case may be. It is not healthy.
And it's curious because really this primary school pupils have nothing to do with, they're not eligible to vote. Why do you even waste money putting your image, spreading it to pupils?
The remedies that are available is to, yes, I agree with Matiangi on the basis that the education administrators in the county lacked judgment. That's very bad judgment on their part. And therefore you should know that you will take responsibility for any of your actions. Njoki has talked about possible sanctions when it comes to abuse of office by Rasanga and a reimbursement of that money, because counties are not supposed to, unless where there's a framework, are not supposed to fund national government functions. So that is an abuse of office. It's acting in excess of his functions in an office. Thirdly, you know, these are the times when you wish there was a measure of corporal punishment that could still be administered, so that Rasanga could have received a few whips, you know, just to bring him back to his senses, or to administer the therapy on errant politicians, which the late Mama Lucy Kibaki used to slaps, you know, when you errant. Because this is the kind of things that are not even to be discussed with the seriousness. These are things that need to be, you know, flagged out for the contempt they deserve. You know, there are people who make these wild statements and wild. We must show our disgust in the most proper and appropriate manner possible. I think there's a way in which some governors are sinking too low, so low. And for any county official or national government official to act in conspiracy, to publish a picture of a governor on a mock exam is the lowest moral ebb any governor can sink to. So I think we need a recovery. When we have our team, I think that we all here sit in the PAC committee of the Senate. I think we need to evaluate what we can do so that he can be gotten to reimburse that money from his own pocket, and any other sanctions or remedies available in law must be put in,
and spending 1.7 million shillings from the county coffers when we know clearly that education is not a devolved function. Hence the headline on the Daily Nation: rogue counties risk missing out on budget cash. The Auditor General tells MPs to punish devolved governments and ministries that fail to account for the money allocated. Elsewhere, I've seen senators, including Bwana Matangi and Anyang' Nyong'o, saying that such rogue county bosses should not be allowed to run again for those positions.
I think I should address myself to two public officers: Cabinet Secretary Matiangi and Governor Rasanga. Matiangi needs to think hard and long about what he has done or what he wants to do next. For the reason that what we are seeing is a confirmation that African leaders, when money is put at their disposal, unless you give them somebody to think for them, they suffer from serious poverty of ideas. It should not be lost on Kenyans that many times when we have got international trade fairs here, we see the portrait of the president on billboards right from the airport, the deputy president with him, and CS Amina Mohammed with him. We have seen others on international functions of Eugene Wamalwa on matters of water with the president and deputy president and so on and so forth. So that lack of ideas is now trickling down again to our governors. So Matiang'i, think about it. Matiang'i, I'm sorry. Matiang'i, think about it. Secondly, Matiang'i, you should understand that Governor Rasanga was responding to an actual challenge in the villages. I've been an MP for many years, and I know that when children are asked to sit for mocks, the head teachers then ask them to go and bring money from home to fund that mock. So if the intention of the governor was to relieve the parents the burden of funding for that mock, it was the right intention. Well, Matiang'i to say that Matiang'i to say that the education is not devolved and therefore the governors should keep out of it. He should so say when he's saying he actually provides funds for all the mocks. He doesn't. There are no mocks. My only offense with what he did are two things. One, this is not the time to do mocks. A few days to the national examination, this is not the time. It was not clever of the county leadership of education to allow that a mock be done now, unless they were going to get their 10% from the 1.7, which I think is the case. Their 10% was driving these county education officials. But Matiang'i should not punish those people because they received that money. They need it. Finally, Rasanga should go easy. This business of putting his portrait on examination papers, Rasanga is a highly educated person. He's gone through the system right up to the top. He has never seen this kind of madness take place. Rasanga, you are starting to have a reputation. Remember, you are the same one who demanded that the president's portrait should not be displayed in your office, that you wanted the portrait of your political party leader to be in the office. You must also shift your psyche from what is mine to what is good for everybody else. Yes.
The Senator here, Senator Halwale, has really downplayed the matter, and I expected something different from it.
Let's say this, and let me just say this on my part, because I believe that is the way it should be. That even before we come to the accountability question, what Colonel Governor Rasanga has done is actually a moral question. Yeah, it's not even a credibility question. It's not an accountability question first. It's a moral question. I mean, you can imagine the enthusiasm. You can imagine how a parent applies himself or herself to his daughter or his son when they are about to sit for an exam. The expectations, the tutoring, the expectations of that parent. And then here, when you are praying and you have mentored and educated your child and you are hoping and trying now to mentor them to pass their exams, at this time when they are about to see the exams, then some character from somewhere comes with some exam papers and a portrait of himself, such that when that child sees exams papers, the first thing they see, what sticks to their mind, is a photograph of a man who is seeking votes. It is immoral. Yeah, don't even talk about the money first. It is immoral, period. And I want to tell you this man should face legal action, to begin with from the parents. And then from government. And let me summarize it this way, because there are things that you can relate the trajectory, the actions of a man backwards and forwards to ask yourself, what kind of guy is this? Now, we in the Public Accounts Committee, as you heard my colleague Hassan Omar saying, we all said that. We received a delegation from Siaya who came to the Public Accounts Committee and they complained that the governor for Siaya pays his wife 500,000 shillings every month for use in the office of the First Lady. And he pays the deputy governor's wife 400,000. These were claims that were brought to the Public Accounts Committee.
Are they claims that you're considering at the Senate?
And we said at the end of the process that we are now going through of looking at the audited accounts of the county government of Siaya, a process which is not yet over now. We had said at the end of that process we are going to bring now that particular question to be answered. But even before we are there now, you see what this guy does. I think we must be very clear, and I want to finalize by saying this. It is a high time. I am the one who initiated a project starting in Kiambu, which has been taken over by many politicians now, where I would donate geometry sets, rulers and what have you to schools before exams. But I would buy them the way they are and go and give them to a school, give to a student. But I think now the way we have gone, it is a high time, because you'll see a lot of politicians now will start running to schools with success cards, with their portraits also, give every student. I think it's a high time that the Cabinet Secretary for Education comes up with firm policy and instructions that has got to lock and keep out all politicians from the exam rooms and from students now. Those success cards, those things that are being given by politicians with portraits or stamps or signatures must be completely from now on banned from students.
And perhaps what members of the public would want to know is there any point that the Senate can come in such a matter, or is 1.7 million shillings too little for the Senate to handle?
I think we can order that he reimburses the money, because it's that question of legality vis-a-vis functions, vis-a-vis abuse of office. And I think he has made a very valid point. I see these programs in schools which politicians call mentorships, particularly for Form 3s and 4s, who they know will be voters next year, or at that time, or this year when they know that they will be voters next year. And they go to these schools with all these things that have their effects. I think as he puts it, we should sanctify the institutions of learning. And if you want to do your politics, whereas we must allow political consciousness of our kids, we must allow them to interrogate politics. We must have courses in civic education, civic education and other current affair issues. But on the basis of politicians using small little things to create platforms for them to start trying to win over Form 3s and 4s in terms of an electoral process, or sending these big success cards with your portrait on them. I think there's a way in which we need to sanctify those places, so that we...
Are you therefore saying, because even Senator Halwale says there's nothing wrong with the governor spending that amount, because probably he was trying to fund the examination that the ministry has failed to fund.
Honorable Ochanda said a good thing. First and foremost, we've banned mocks at this point in time, but Honorable Ochanda on the same story said that he's never seen anything like this before. It is where a great idea, a good idea is whittled down by selfish pursuits. So you can have a great idea, but we need to insulate it from these selfish pursuits.
So there could actually be nothing wrong with what Governor Rasanga has done.
Fred, one of the things that is normally funded by CDF, because we are allowed to fund education, is these continuous assessment tests. And we've been funding them for it a long time. But even on that paper, we don't even put the caption there that this is funded by CDF. We just fund the exam, and it is administered in the normal way. If you want to communicate to the parents that you fund the exams, you can do it in your public rallies. And I'm telling you, this thing has gone into the extent that some of the things that are not even mentioned in public. There is a woman rep from this assembly we are sitting on at the moment, who has distributed sanitary pads with her photo on it. It's that bad. you know, there's no relevance, as it were,
to schools.
Yes, to schools, to school girls. It's that bad.
Okay.
So really, what Matangi is saying, we need to get into this.
It is more of a moral issue than a criminal matter. So the Senate might not even have anything to come in.
Can you imagine if, for example, you are in ICU praying for your father to recuperate and come out alive, and you find some fellow coming with T-shirts branded you know, Wamatangi, and giving out there, and probably a get well card to your father in ICU with the photo of a politician saying vote for me. I mean, that's the kind of thing we're talking about. So this should be brought to, and let me say this: if you want to gauge the mood, and this is the rock bottom issue. If you want to gauge the mood with which this guy is governing the county of Siaya, you only need to listen to the comments of that CEC who was speaking there. I mean, see how timid, how brainwashed she is. Oh, it is okay when the governor, the photos appear there, the students will love it. Yes. I mean, imagine from a minister of education at a county, that kind of thing, talking, that kind of thinking, I mean, that means that this guy has simply rained terror on the county. You know, it can't be that way.
Okay. Yeah. So, according to my panelists, the matter in Siaya is more of a moral issue as opposed to a criminal matter, and therefore the Senate might not be able to take it up, because that's what I'm trying to establish. Moral
is a relative term. What is moral to you may not be moral to me, and vice versa. But they are definite legal and issues that arise from other issues of integrity that are directly linked to our regime of law, that arise from what the minister, the governor has done.
Okay. I want us to move on to another story, and of course the biggest story this week has been the matter, what is happening in Muranga with this northern collector tunnel, northern water collector tunnel that opposition leader Raila Odinga came out and raised serious concerns, whether legitimate or not, concerns about how it's being conducted.